some students of history can tell you how Roman Catholics massacred large numbers of Protestants in Europe and England. However, few Americans realize today that large numbers of Protestants were also massacred in North America by Roman Catholics. This is a piece of history that has been strategically left out of our textbooks today. For if people were taught this history at a young age, they would be less likely to trust Roman Catholicism today. You see this piece of history as a testimony that no one is safe, no matter where they may be in the world, if Roman Catholicism can have its way and execute the power it would like upon its enemies. The event I'm talking about took place in Florida in 1565. The victims of this murdering rampage were the French Huguenots. They were French Calvinists. Now, some students of history do know, in fact, that the Huguenots were massacred in France at what has been come to be called St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. But this is a massacre of Huguenots that took place in Florida in 1565. It didn't take place in Europe. It didn't take place in England. It took place in what is now called the United States of America. Few people today know about this massacre, for Roman Catholics have worked hard to keep it out of our modern history books. However, it can be found in the older history books. Much of the history of the United States has been rewritten as the power of the Roman Catholic Church has increased in this nation. Historian Julian Hawthorne, son of the famous American writer Nathaniel Hawthorne, writes of this massacre in his 3-volume History of the United States. He writes, "In 1565 a colony of French Huguenots at St. Augustine had, by characteristic act of Spanish treachery, been massacred, men, women, and children, at the order of Menendez." History of the United States, Volume 1, Chapter 1, page 29. Historian Max Bloomfield writes of the Protestant massacre in his History of St. Augustine, Florida. Bloomfield quotes directly from one of Menendez's chaplain. "The enemy did not perceive them until they were attacked. Most of them being in bed, many arose in their night clothes and begged for quarter. Notwithstanding this, 142 were killed. The rest escaped." Bloomfield's Illustrated Historical Guide, embracing an account of the antiquities of St. Augustine, Florida, page 13. During the massacre at Fort Caroline, a French ship carrying Huguenots had shipwrecked in a storm on nearby Anastasia Island. The Catholic Menendez forced their surrender, then slaughtered the Protestants. Bloomfield, again quoting from the Catholic chaplain Francisco Lopez, writes, "Seeing that they were Lutherans, His Excellency condemned them all to death. But, as I was a priest and felt sympathy for them, I begged him to grant me a favor, that in sparing those who would embrace our holy faith, he granted me this favor. I succeeded in thus saving 10 or 12. All the rest were executed because they were Lutherans and enemies of our holy Catholic faith." Abid, page 14. The Huguenots, for they were not Lutherans, were given a choice: convert to Catholicism or die. 111 chose death. Finally, we read, "A Huguenot survivor of the attack on Fort Caroline has described that the human butchery as a massacre of men, women, and little infants, so horrible that one can imagine nothing more barbarous and cruel." Abid, page 14. I want you to think about that choice those Huguenots were given: convert to Roman Catholicism or die. Convert or die. This choice has been given to those people whom the Roman Catholic Church has considered their enemies, whom the Roman Catholic Church has considered heretics as far back as the reign of St. Dominic. But it is not just something that has been given to people whom they consider their enemies long ago. In World War II, this same choice was given to the Serbians by the Ustashi, who were Roman Catholics. Over 300 Orthodox Serbians were massacred by the Roman Catholic Ustashi. The teachings of the Roman Catholic Church have not changed, and as soon as they have the power to carry out these massacres again without any type of repercussion, the killings will begin again. So I hope you'll let the death of these brave French Calvinists, these Huguenots, be a reminder that you may be called upon to give your life for the Christian faith, even in the United States. History has warned us, so let us be watching. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Matthew chapter 5, verse 10 through verse 12.